Hey everyone, welcome. It's Monday. It is January 6th, 2025. This is an open door, and this is the program that we call Where the Rubber Meets the Road, where we take just one idea from A Course in Miracles and we talk about how we could use it to rock our world. Richard's back in purple. In case anyone didn't notice, he's not in blue today. I am also wearing purple. So we're no longer the blue twins. We are now the purple twins. I just, I'm in, I'm very peaceful. Um, the teaching today, which is blowing my mind, or the sharing today is blowing my mind. In all honesty, I sat, well, I think it was Saturday when I sent that email to the whole list. And I held the book and I opened it, and it opened to this section. And almost every line of this section kind of blew me away. But I'm hanging out in Let Love Decide. Let love decide. Just those words, aren't they gorgeous? And with that being said, as I typically do, we begin with a song, and I'm going to hit pause. I feel safe hitting pause because Barbie's in the room. I lost her for a second. We have so many people coming. Um, she'll have me remember to hit record again. Can't take my eyes off of you, but it's not Frankie Valli. It's a group called Private Island. My daughter's created a playlist for me. She did it for my 60th birthday, and she adds another 10 songs or something every year for me. And this version was on my playlist, and for some reason in the last 2 or 3 days, I haven't been able to stop singing it in my head. And it is about, for me, it's about the relationship between me and the truth of who I am. And with that being said, may it also become an earworm for you. Can't take my eyes off of you. Private Island. I did add that YouTube video to our An Open Door playlist. Makes it very easy to find. And like I said, I do have it on my heart that it becomes an earworm because I have discovered over the last couple of days, just on my day to day, all of a sudden it just starts playing in my head, and man, does it shift my space. Okay, I have just a few things to say about this section, the way it is, and then I'll open it up. It just, I don't know about you, but it's feeling wonderful being here with all of you. Amazing, actually. All right, couple of quotes from this
Where are
section.
you? Where are you in the book?
We are on, if you have the purple book,
Yes.
it's page 770. It's chapter 25, section 9. It's called A Witness to Sinlessness. And if this was purely just a course, an hour on the course, I'd read the whole thing. It's not very long, but we're about taking just one general idea and being with it, letting it marinate, regardless of how awful we may feel in the moment. So here's the first idea that I pulled from this section. It's these words. For just one witness is enough if she sees or if he sees truly. We, every off and on, we keep moving in and out of why do we do what we do and what's our purpose. And that line, and I've got chills right here, it reminds me that what Cindy does, whether she's currently fully immersed in the dream character or if she's connected to the higher self, how I choose to be in this moment as my authentic self, whether it's in love, whether it's happy, whether it's miserable, whatever, the more honest and focused I can be and in my connection with this moment, it matters. It matters. So many of these teachings state, and the Course reminds us over and over again, that just one idea fully fully accept it as true is all that it takes. And it really is just one of us. I am a chemist by training. I don't know how many people really know that, but I graduated #1 in my class at Rutgers University in the chemistry department. That, like, I have some chemistry. And then I went on and got an advanced degree in engineering and all of that to just say that it's actually just it's one little molecule that acts as a catalyst to create an alchemical reaction, right? So one of us in our pure form, as small as the ego tells you we are, one of us purely seen is all it takes to catalyze a shift into something higher or better. For the record, from a chemistry standpoint, the opposite is not true. If you take one pure catalyst to create this experience and you contaminate it, it just stops working. It doesn't, I'm not giving you the whole virus scenario. I'm literally giving you that if you take a catalyst, it's enough to have this beautiful reaction. But if you contaminate the catalyst, it just becomes dead. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was the first thought. What you do matters. Hey, Richard.
Quick question. In my book, section 9 of chapter 25 is "For They Have Come." You mentioned another title.
Is it the Purple Book?
Right.
Chapter 25, section 9, page 77. I'm reading A Witness to Sinlessness.
770.
Page 770. That's not what you have, Richard?
I have a Kindle version of the book and it says "For They Have Come." So I'm a little, but the same wording they mentioned in your message, the last words of the section are the same as you were quoting in your message. So
I'm opening up the Kindle version because now I'm curious. Chapter 25, section 9. A Witness to Sinlessness is my Kindle version.
Yeah, paragraph 1.
As specialness cares not and pays the cost of sin. You're in a different reality than I am, Richard.
Apparently, I'm in a different universe.
How extraordinary. All right. The second thing I have written down here is love and justice is not separate. The way that informs me, there is no excuse and there's nowhere where the Course or Jesus or these teachings say it's okay to hate or reject. There's no exceptions to the rules as they're offered in the teachings. And when we fully love, the error of hatred or separation is corrected in pure love. And that is where justice arises. And it leads to this next statement, which, my love of Joel Goldsmith is intermixing with this, but this quote says, "Your experience within the world is but shadows of all that is really happening within yours, within you." And that reminds me over and over and over again not to trust my physical experience and call that true. What the dream character or the physical experience is, the physical experience of being a me in the world sits on the belief that I could be separate from the world and that alone means that there's something else going on here. So I'm being invited to understand that that is a piece of the experience. It's not to be denied. But the more I hold my in consciousness that that doesn't begin to describe the expansiveness and the wholeness of what I am, it helps soften whatever's going on in the physical, in the current physical experience. That makes sense. Your special function. So, what is my job as a separate self? Your special function is a call to him that he may smile on you, whose sinlessness he shares. My job is the atonement. My job is to be fully present and to say this moment sucks. Hey, Holy Spirit, whatever's going on here, I'm not feeling you. I will to feel you. Help. That's one way of putting it. But really, my only job is to notice when the senses of being out of the flow, thinking that something needs to change, which is actually very different, right, Sandra? So if my special function is to accept that right now there is a thought in the mind that says something should be different, and then to ask for that thought to be corrected, that's not the same as saying, oh, there's fear arising, or there's irritation rising, or there's anger arising, or there's sadness arising, and I'm not allowed to feel that. It's the I'm not allowed to feel it that we're asking to be corrected, not the sense of sadness or irritation or anger. That fully experienced can be expressed, and then we get to continue on the flow. So when I hear your special function is a call to him that he may smile on you whose sinlessness he shares, the way that is appearing for me right now in the all of it is to notice when I'm feeling separate from the flow and ask for that to be corrected. When I'm thinking this moment needs to be different. For some reason, I'm going to read this next quote and I'm starting to cry, and that's where the pause is. The body is. So I said, right, the statement that I just made was what I'm asking to be corrected is this belief that something in this moment is supposed to be different. Period. Right? That's not about attaching to stories, or it's my experience of the present moment. This is what I'm asking to have corrected. That's it. The feeling that something needs to change for me to be okay. So what I wrote right underneath that, and these are all quotes from this one little section, right? Who would have more or less is not aware that he has everything. Who would have more or less is not aware that he has everything. This again points to this belief that something in this moment supposedly has to change before I know I am God. How ridiculous is that? If God is everything, consciousness is all there is, where is the one who believes that something has to be different to know God? Or where is the one who is clinging to the idea that this, whatever this is not God? This part of my human experience is not God. How does something not be God if God is all there is? I've been really quiet in that thought. And then from that place, we move into this last line of this chapter. And we could read the whole thing. It's funny where the way this is playing out. I'm pulling this just a couple of lines because, one thing the course is, it's wordy. It's wordy and it speaks on many different levels. And so it has a lot of opportunities for the ego to get really kind of lost in its interpretation. So instead of reading the whole sentence, I'm hanging in this space of letting love decide. Letting love decide what? Well, everything. And one other thought, Andrew, and then it's all yours. And here is how it's working for me right now, right? Yesterday, I led a gathering at Awakening Together, or Cindy was there, and the gathering flowed through us. It flowed through Rana, did the reading, and there was awesome music, and every aspect, meaning the preparation, choosing the reading, choosing the reader, choosing the music, and everything that was said came from something outside of the personality. The personality took a back seat and love flowed through. There were some little hiccups, little places where the ego wanted to question what was happening. And then I eventually looked at it. It was surrendered, right? There's no ego in that. This morning, I realized that I could choose to surrender every other aspect of Cindy's story. In the same way that that gathering was surrendered, Emma's car situation, Emma and her job, every aspect of me being a mother to Emma can be surrendered to that same flow, right? And it's perfect because there were a lot of things that the personality had to agree to. I had to ask Rana to be the reader. I had to type up what the reading was. I had to allow speaking to happen. The choosing of the music all had to be agreed through and communicated through the personality, right? There was a lot of activity. My surrendering every aspect of my relationship to Emma to the same energy that that did all the hard lifting or whatever yesterday doesn't mean I don't get to engage with Emma. It means I get to engage with Emma without fear, without thinking that all is always well. Like it's insane what's happening here and watching the resistance to what I'm saying, but it doesn't have a leg to stand on. So I get to allow all the fear around that to come up and sort of still be in the larger space of allowing it to do what it wants to do because that's not me, or that's I'm choosing to allow love to make the decisions, to figure things out, and then then I do whatever it tells me to do, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to hand it over to Andrew. Hey, Andrew.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Cindy. Good to see you all. I had a call while you were talking about your last experience, and I didn't catch everything, but yeah, we're having quotes on getting a new roof, so that's not important at all. But what I think is important to note in this chapter, it says you need not perceive in every circumstance that this is true, nor do you look to your experience within the world, which is but shadows of all that is really happening within yourself. So that means that everything we perceive is merely our own thoughts. So that's why you can only judge yourself. If you think you're judging someone else, it's your own thought that is being judged. Now, how that works, I don't know, because we all seem to be very different egos and bodies, but we all are part of the Christ, which is the one Son of God. So what we really have to learn to perfect this course is to love everyone. And I don't think you have to like everyone, because in the worldly experience, there are things that happen that we don't like, but we have to remember that we're not our egos, we're not our bodies, neither is anyone else that we experience. We don't experience reality at all, even with our senses. If you think about it, this book seems very solid, right? And yet science tells us it's 99.99% empty space. We don't perceive things as they really are. So I just thought that I'd throw that out there. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but
Oh, it means a lot to me. And it sounds like you just dropped right into to our what we do on Fridays with reality check,
oh,
looking at the different, because literally that's a lot of our conversation has been, just looking at the solidity of the table and accepting that it's not what we see. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry I can't attend Fridays. That sounds really interesting. But anyway, that's my comment. I'll hand it over to Sandra, I guess. Thank you.
thank you, Andrew. And thank you for being here. All yours, Sandra.
Good morning, everybody. I love seeing all of you. Thank you, Cindy. I loved your points you made in this, and this reading really impacted me. It reinforced an understanding that I'm coming to fully accept, and that is I am innocent. And this whole section to me, the way it was linking, I witness to innocence for me, not naivete. That's not what I mean by innocence. I mean, I'm not guilty. I'm innocent. I've been pronounced not guilty. And there's this woman, her name's Carol Howell, and I'll never forget what she said to me once. She said, "You can't mess it up. You think you're messing things up. You can't. You can't mess up your true self, and you can't mess up anything. I am innocent." And I love the way this section tied love and justice together. That love and justice strengthen each other. We tend to think in the world that something's been done wrong, and to get justice, there must be punishment, or there must be some consequence. And then this book, as it does with everything else, turns that totally upside down and makes it the opposite, that love and justice are one. Just like Jesus on the cross, loved all of those. So, and then it goes on to say, we cannot judge somewhere. So there, that we really don't even have the ability to judge through our egoic mind, because we cannot be impartial. We are totally filtering all of the experiences. And so we can't, so that our understanding needs to come, it says, not from you, but from a large self, so great and so holy that he could not doubt his innocence. So great and so holy. Could not doubt my own innocence, but yours as well, or whomever I think has done something to me. And
doesn't that also point to what Andrew just said? Like it
yes,
says, because Andrew said, I don't know how this works.
I
Like
want
being
to.
able to accept that, right?
I feel like I want to go grab something. I'm going to do it.
Go for it.
I love sculptures, and I have this little sculpture that I'm going to show you, because it's I don't know if you can see her. She's Justice, and she has the scales, and if you look closely,
She blind?
she's blindfolded. Why is she blindfolded? So that she would be impartial. And I don't know why I just did that Thanks for putting up with me.
Doesn't that also point to this section where it says, don't trust what you see in the world?
Exactly. And so we need to be blindfolded to show love to all who are innocent. They know not what they do. So this whole idea of sin is wrong, right? It's this, we're innocent and without impartiality. And then it says, judge not because you cannot. And it just like takes a whole, it makes me free. I no longer have to judge. I kind of thought I had to. I don't have to judge. I don't have to judge anything. Whew, put down that weight, put on, and then see, and the blindfold is for the egoic mind, I think. But for me, now I can see with the eyes that have been open to a different kind of world. I can see more clearly. I can see with love instead of fear. Because why do we think we need justice? Because we're afraid. So I can say, I'm innocent, you're innocent. Whew. Thank you.
As you were sharing, I was also just really being informed by this audio we're going to be talking about on Thursday with Christian, right? That's his name. And he keeps talking about the multiple lives and where you are, his memories from being out of body, and how he kept reiterating our innocence, reiterating that there isn't, an order of difficulty and everything's choice and everything's okay and everything.
Yes.
He kept talking, every time the interviewer was trying to say this is better and this is a soul that's bad versus, he's like, no, 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 no. There's no judgment here. It's not that. Yeah, very, very, very moved by that.
May I read one line from here that really I love so much? It's in section 9. It's the one that's numbered 4. You have the right to all the universe, to perfect peace, complete deliverance from all, I'm going to add seemingly, effects of sin, to life eternal, joyous, and complete in every way, as God appointed for his holy Son. I just loved that. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. And Dago.
Hi, everyone. I love so much being here. What I was drawn to, or what I was guided, was to love whatever is happening, to love it, that it is here for me, and that everything is love and everything is God, no matter what I'm experiencing or what I think, and to bring it in. And so no matter what I see or whatever anyone is doing, it is here for me. And I don't need to understand it. I don't need to like it, but it's here for me. And just to bring it in, and then to ask God to show me what it's here for, or show me or help me with whatever is happening. So that's what I want to share. So thank you so much. I love being here.
Thank you. So before I hand it to David, I just got to know, is it like snowing in Missouri or windy? Like, are you dealing with a storm too? Is that why we keep losing you?
My internet keeps going in and out, so I'm disappearing from the illusion. I'm right in the body run, but I've been on the snow. We had about 7 inches, I guess.
That's a lot in Missouri, right?
Not recently it has been, but normally it won't snowfall like this a year. Hopefully this is the last one, the only one. So we'll see.
It's also
So
relative.
here I'm just watching the beautiful snowfall. The landscape out my window is just whiteness. So love and its perfection showing up in the dream. So
Okay. Thank you. Now it's all yours, David.
Thank you. Yeah, I had been thinking about something, and when we started talking, it popped in my head, and I don't know if it's 100% right in line with what we're doing, but everything's in line with what we're doing. And so I was writing something the other day, and it just sort of fell apart. And I was talking about, that I need to ask God and to keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. But then I remembered I only have to ask God once. And that's what I think that's what the course says. Somewhere in the course it says that. But then I'm also thinking about, I don't even need to ask God. I know what God's answer is, because I know God, because we're one. But then in spite of that, I will keep asking again and again and again. And I think that's just so that I know that I'm reassured that there is a God for me to ask. And because I used to think that I knew there was a God, I just didn't think he liked me very much. And so I still fall back on that okay, God, I know I asked you yesterday, but I'm asking you again today because I want to make sure you're still there. And so it's a trust issue. So maybe I'll get over that one day. But then the other part of that is God maybe might have to ask me more than once because I don't pay attention and I don't believe God. God, you really said that? Or God, you really are paying attention to me? And so it's so interesting how I'm having to learn at in my 81st year, that I'm still learning how to believe in and how to be and how to know that I am God. And that God is me, and I don't have to ask God anything, and God knows I don't have to ask because God already knows what I want, and I really don't want anything because I have everything. I just want to be assured by God that I don't need anything. So it's kind of a catch-22, and that's so I'm working on that, and I really appreciate the fact that I get to put these things out here out loud because they make a lot more sense to me when I can hear them myself, even when I'm speaking them. And so thank you, folks, for listening.
Thank you for sharing. Baby Love.
Howdy, folks, from the section of the country that we don't have snow. But what was coming up for me, I loved this reading, and everybody has touched on what I had underlined. And another thing I'd underlined was in the paragraph 4, and it says, "You are safe from vengeance in all forms." And what was coming up for me as I was listening to everybody's shares is the movie Dead Man Walking. And I remember coming away from that movie with a deeper sense that it was such a spiritual movie, and how it really, and what I just heard in a different way was the truth will set you free. And because I don't know if anybody who all seen that movie, but a man, did a crime, and a nun was sent to help him. And the movie is about him coming to terms with his truth, that he actually did do the crime that he was convicted of. And it was a beautiful scene when he realized that when he confessed that he said yes to her, and in tears. But what I heard, the truth will set you free. And that just has taken on a whole new meaning, being a part of this group and hearing, the truth and the trust in the truth, and truth is love. And love is the oneness. And so it just continues to make this seeming sayings that, like the song you played, I mean, I grew up hearing that song. That song is ingrained in my brain. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was right there with you. And being able to kind of hear with new ears now is, or listening with more my heart than my head, I guess. But I really loved this section a lot, because I have a tendency to want to pull out a bat at times and beat myself up, and I don't have to do that to myself anymore. That's the ego. That's not what love is, and that's not the truth. And so I am free. And so anyway, just wanted to share those thoughts that were coming up for me, and just really appreciate this group so much. And I sure do love all y'all. And be safe out there.
Thank you. Who else? Richard.
Morning, everyone. I may disappear at any moment, so while I was actually in chapter 26, section 9, so I figured that out, and somehow I believe I came late to the message, and so I wanted to read up on this before the meeting. I didn't get to do that, but somehow I read something, the first paragraph, and it talked about forgiveness. And I thought it was in the right chapter, apparently not. And but it really applies to the 3 words, let love decide. Because that's why I'm prompted to share what I experienced this morning. What we're talking about was, you have to, in order to let love decide, and actually you have to love everything in your experience. And so there are some people that you may not love. And the Course said in the paragraph I was reading, you have to love everyone and everything in your dream. So and I thought, well, how did I get to a point where I was willing to do that? What I did was, in my mind, I realized that the non-physical force energy that we all call love or God or whatever label you want to use it, that's where we were one. We're all that. And we all manifest through a dream figure in the dream. The current buzzword now for a dream figure is avatar. So if each of us represent an avatar in the dream, then this energy, which we all are one with, comes through different avatars and manifests in the world. And we like some of the people that manifest the way we think they ought to manifest, and we dislike to a certain degree, for any word, the dislike, the hate of people who don't manifest in the way we think they should. So what I have done over the last few years, realize we're all that energy that comes into the illusion and manifests that energy, which we all are, in different aspects of the people we seem to think we are dealing with, or seeing, or talking to, or witnessing. And it made it much easier for me to love them, regardless of what they're manifesting as, because as the Course says, it's either love or a call for love. So when I see love, we all know, well, that's why we love these meetings, because we all see the love that we are in truth, and all of us. But sometimes we don't see others in our world as loving as we are, we tend to be, right? And we judge them. So if I can see the not physical force energy that's motivating this body suit or body mind in a way that I find it disagreeable or not loving, then all my job is to extend the love that I am. And that works pretty good for me. I mean, I don't always do it right away. I tend to like my dislike of certain people, but eventually I get to a point where I'm ready to, I love you, brother or sister. We're all one. And so I felt I should share that. Love you all.
But you know what, Richard? I really love you. I'm not just Holy Spirit loving you. I enjoy hanging out with you. I like you too. Sorry, I just had to say that. I like you too, Sandra. I like us all, everyone here.
Thank you, Richard. That reminded me of when I first started studying the course and I didn't understand the definition of forgiveness. And I came to know that forgiveness is not what I used to think forgiveness was. I used to think it meant, it's okay that you did that. I forgive you, you bad person. But now I know that it is seeing past the exterior behavior to the light within, to almost being blind to all this behavior and exterior manifestation. And something else has arisen, and that is compassion. And compassion, I think, is a form of love. So it's easier with small children, I think, but it happens with adults also, even politicians. But I see the pain more than I see the bad behavior. I see the pain that's causing the reactions. And then I have compassion. I see the fear, the hurt. It's what you just said is a call for love. And that elicits in me a compassion. And I don't even need to use the word forgiveness because I don't even hardly connect with the behaviors anymore.
I'm inspired to respond to that, but I'll let Richard do it first.
Thank you. Earlier, someone shared, I think it was Sandra, about how getting rid of the sin, guilt, and fear in the body. Right? I think it was Andrew who also said that we experience what we project. So whatever we perceive is our reflection of our own mind, our own thoughts. And recently what's really helped refine my understanding of the course is listening to Keith Kavanaugh. I mentioned him a number of times, but he basically says to forgive others in the dream is what he calls forgiveness to destroy, because you're destroying the other by admitting that he's separate from you and that you're separate self. You're separate from your source. So it reminded me that forgiveness in the course is about leaving the dream, rising above the battleground, reconnecting with the Holy Spirit and the healed mind of the Son, one Son of God, and sinking into the stillness. And only there you forgive yourself for perceiving yourself as a separate being, separate from your source. And only when you're in the stillness, when you're oneness with all that is, can you then express this oneness to everyone in your dream. So I found that really good for me because I have been functioning for many years as Richard, the dream figure, trying to fix Richard's view of the world. When in fact, Richard is just an avatar I use as a true self to experience a life in the dream that I am not. So I'm still working with this, but it seems to be working for me. Love you.
So the two teachings or ideas that came up while I was listening to Sandra, and I think they're still here. One just comes from Paul Selleck in the guides. He's been talking along these lines. A lot of people have been asking this question, and his simple answer is, you are not what you do, you are who you are. And the instruction in this particular teaching is to practice seeing who another is, not what they do. And the same here. I am not what I do. I am who I am. And in that way, the general teaching is that there is a response in the world and in the flow to the activity. But that doesn't mean we don't connect with the divinity in all. And the other, image teacher in the dream that teaches this truth that came up while I was listening to this was Byron Katie. And there was a specific exchange where someone was getting really angry as she was teaching this. And he says, you mean, everybody's love? What about the rapist? What if you walk in and you discover somebody being raped? And she quietly said, oh, sweetheart, I'm going to call the police while I'm understanding that nothing is going on but an exchange of love. And it then rolls back to what I was hearing. It's like, I am not what is being done in any, what Cindy is doing in any given moment is literally just the response to whether or not fear is alive or love is alive in the dream, right? And so I am not the fear. Fear may be expressed here. And so identifying as the love of who I am while the fear is being expressed in me or another corrects the fear response. It's such an interesting place. Nobody else's hand is up. Now there's a hand up. Anna.
Hello, my hand is up. So grateful that I'm sitting here and listening, because as I said in the beginning, when I tried to read this, my brain was mush. So you've provided so much clarity, and it is wordy. Darn it. Sometimes it's too wordy. That's okay. It can be any way that it wants to be. What this one ended up doing was questioning whether I really understood what justice meant, because I think there's somewhere here that says like discipline. It's sort of a dirty word, And so I looked it up in the glossary in the back of the Purple Book, and it was very helpful. Justice is an impartial principle by which everyone receives what he or she deserves. So at first, of course, the egoist mind is like getting what they deserve based on action, right? That's where that judgment is coming from, because I'm judging someone for their actions, not about who they truly are. So the second sentence says, Because each person is God's holy son, who in reality has not sinned, what that person deserves is not God's punishment, but God's love. And so that was really helpful. So as you guys have been picking out the little sentences that you like, I've had the opportunity to sort of go back through and scan this again, and it's just a lot clearer than it was earlier. It's funny how this mind does judge words themselves, you know. Oh, justice, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt, you know. So that's all I have to share right now. Thank you.
So if there are no other words, I am inspired to play the song I ended the gathering with yesterday. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna officially end this get together then, and I turn off the recording. So I love us. We're meeting again for Training Wheels tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Let me stop the recording. And yes, for those who are on the recording, there is typically a meeting after the meeting. You got to be here for that. All right, here we go.